everyone, this is Bev from Art by Bedell, and I have a new journal I'm starting. It's going to be a large journal and it's a bird journal. So today the page that I want to work on is plans for some building maybe, or yeah, it says shingles, so I'm guessing a house. Anyhow, I have a piece of that. On the back side of it, I've applied some gesso to give it a little bit more stability. And I want to work on this side here today. And I've just torn it off a roll that I had. And for here, I want to make a large pocket. So to start my pocket, I'm going to use a piece of this memorandum paper that I have that's vintage paper. And the ink that I'm going to use for this project is going to be my vintage photo ink. And I want to ink up around all the edges of my paper. So I have actually a series that I'm working on, and there will be 3 journals. One journal is going to be this big one that I'm working on that's somewhere between 7 by 11 or something like that. I really don't know the size of my journals until they're done. And then the other 2 are like if you take an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper and fold it in half, then that's the size those journals are going to be. And one of them is going to have 1 signature and the other is going to have 2 signatures. So what I'll end up having when I'm all done are 3 different size bird journals that you can pick from. So I also want to put a thumb hole here, and for that I will use my 1 1/4 inch punch. I like to turn my punch over, and on the sides there's these little marks that marks halfway, and I'll put this in and I'll go about halfway, not quite halfway, and that gives me the size thumb hole that I want for my page. And then that will go down here like that. I also want to layer some of this paper. This paper is a printable, and I'll have it listed below who it's by. But I need to get rid of the edges. It doesn't print all the way to the edge. So I'll just take my straight edge and I'm just going to tear it like that to get rid of the white. All 3 journals will be using the same paper. They will share the same ephemera, but not necessarily have the same ephemera. This one especially is going to have a bigger variety of ephemera in it than what the 2 smaller ones do. So from here, I want to take and tear down about this much and use this much for part of my collage on my page, and we'll set the rest of this aside. So it's a little too long, so we'll just decide we'll tear off this side. There we go. Now we could take and tear all of this. Sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't. My goal here is to have a big pocket here with a journal card, and then I have this coaster, vintage, like they're cardboard. They're not chipboard, they're cardboard. And I'm going to also make that into a tuck spot for my dried flowers. We have wild phlox out around our roads in the summertime, and they're just beautiful. And so I went and picked a bunch and dried them. And then after they were dried, I put them in, I laminated them so that I could use them in my journals freely. Anyhow, this is my goal for what I want to do here. So I will ink up around the edge of this also. And I also want to add a quote to this. And let's see, I am so in the mood for spring. And I know I'm pushing it because it's a long ways off for us right now. It's being only February. We've got at least 2 more months of winter before we see flowers and that. But I'm ready for the birds to come back. I'm ready for the flowers. I'm just ready. A little early. All right, so what I want to do now is I'm going to make this a pocket. So I'm going to take my art glitter glue, and I'm just going to put a stream along the 2 short sides and the bottom long side, the back bottom. And then I can take my piece here, and I'll probably just use a glue stick to that. There we go. That dresses that up and gives that page a little bit of color. And the next thing I want to do is go with the sewing machine and stitch around the outside edge. So I will be back. There we go. I always love the looks of stitching on my junk journal pages. Now to apply our little pocket here, I'm going to make it a tuck spot. I want to make sure that maybe I could, no, I think the best thing to do is to make a tuck spot. So I'm going to glue along both of these. I don't want to use, glue stick is not appropriate for that. And I'm going to use my 3-in-1 glue for that. And so make sure I get the right sides here. Okay, so we have that down. And while that's drying, I'm going to set a book on it and we will work on our tag. So for our tag, have it be as big as, my opening is, let's go with 7 inches and no wider than 4.5 inches. So I'm going to put a book on this, set it aside, and we'll work on our tag. For our tag, I have an index card, one of the large ones, and I've cut down so that it measures, it's 7 by 5. I put it in that little pocket and it worked nice. So we're going to use this. I'm keeping it lightweight because our pocket is not very, the paper that I created the pocket out of is not very heavy, so I don't want to put anything very bulky inside that pocket. And besides, my journals always tend to get, oh yes, way over bulky. Not way over because I like that style, but they do tend to have quite the gator mouth on them when I'm done with them. So for this, let's add some more of this paper so that it matches. And let's take like the top spot. I'm thinking about this bird here that I want to cut out. So I want to be careful not to ruin my chances of that. But I want to use up as much as the paper as I can. So let's go with this. Oh yeah, on there like that. I like that. Now I will decorate the back of it instead of the front. Normally what you call the front on an index card, of course, would be the side that has the lines on it. So I want to save that for journaling, and we'll take the back side and we'll decorate that up. So I'm going to fussy cut this bird because I want to add this bird on there. So as I gather supplies for like a new journal or new project or whatever, I tend to gather, like, of course, the papers that I want to use. And then I start thinking about the embellishments and what stencils I might want to use and all the inks and different things. And I just start gathering them all and putting them together. And I have chosen several stencils for this project that I might use. And I want to do a little bit of stenciling down here before I add these. So I'm going to take my applicator and my vintage photo and add some of these ferns here like this. And that's just to make the background a little more interesting. It was kind of plain without anything on it. And I'll just add some here and there, going different directions. It doesn't even matter. And there is a little bit of design on here because this has been coffee stained. There's some spotting on it. So with that, and then with the stenciling, we have a more interesting background here. Then I can take my piece of paper, and that to me looks so much better already. And this can just be glued down. It's just lightweight paper on an index card. It's just copy paper that I've printed off onto. It's just 20-pound coffee paper. Copy paper. Coffee stained copy paper. There we go. And then I not only cut out the bird, but I cut out the flower too. I thought that would look pretty on there somewhere. Right here, maybe. So then we can glue our bird down and our flower. And I'm going to stitch around the outside edge of this, and I will be back. There we go. It's looking pretty nice. Now, I have this stamp that says my heart has wings, and I want to emboss that. To emboss that, I am going to use Versamark, which is a watermark ink pad that's pretty sticky. And that is made by Sukaniko. And we'll just stamp that right down here. And the color that I have chosen for embossing for this journal is going to be gold. I debated on gold or copper. I needed to know which direction I wanted to go with. I don't feel that my gold is quite as grungy looking as the copper would be. So I had to decide, am I going real grungy with this journal, or am I going to keep it a little bit lighter? And I decided to keep it a little bit lighter. All right, so I have some spots on here that have some embossing powder where I don't want it. So I'll just take a brush and I'll just wipe that off. There, now I can heat set that. I think the gold will be pretty nice with these papers. And then we have room back here for journaling, but it's pretty plain. So let's take another piece of this paper and we'll just tear it down a little. We don't need that much. We have that, so that decorates that up. And there's our journal card. Now let's pull our book back over our page. And this is pretty sturdy on there now. And our little card can go right inside our pocket, just like that. Now, to add more to the outside here, let's put our flowers in, see how they look. There we go. I have this piece of trim that I got off, I'm not sure what it was, something that I got from Goodwill, I believe. And I want to add that to the bottom of this like this. I will again use my 3-in-1 glue for that. Now you could also use fabric tack, would work quite well for this also, but this is what I have on hand. I'm out of fabric glue at the moment. There we go, and put that down there like that. And I have chosen a quote to use on this page also. If one truly loves nature, one finds beauty everywhere, by Vincent van Gogh. So we will put that right here. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I start a new journal, a new project, it takes me a little while to warm up to it. So I usually start with something simple, maybe something I've done before or something anyhow that I'm comfortable with. I kind of have to really work into getting into the feel of the journal. At the beginning, it goes a little slow, but I've done a page like this before, probably a couple of times. So there we have that, and that will be the start of our new journal. So I hope you enjoyed this project, this nice, easy project, and we will see you again soon as we make progress on this large bird journal. Thanks for watching. You have a great day. We'll see you again soon. Bye now.